Hey guys, I'm back with a complete redesign of my smart storage system. It is quieter, faster, and way more lag efficient. I've replaced all the hoppers. If you're not familiar with my old design, it was crazy hopper heavy. Just literally hundreds of hoppers. And I've scrubbed that entire thing and replaced it with ice streams here with pistons. And I've also optimized a lot of the other mechanics like the dropper chains that transport the full shulker boxes. We've got some instant dropper lines here that speed things up a lot. Rerouted a lot of the stuff down here that used to handle the menu system for ordering full shulkers of items. And all the functionality that the old design had is still there. It's actually faster than before. You can see here this shulker is remaining level at right around 12 items. If we pull a stack of items out, it will start slowly filling back up. If we put this back in, it'll self-level back down to 12-ish items in that final stack. And the idea here is I wanted a storage system that allows me to come and grab stacks of items as needed. So if I need a couple stacks of gravel for a project I'm working on, I can grab them, go use them. And then if I have any gravel left over, I can come back and put them back in this chest. I don't want to have to go somewhere else to return those items. I want to just put them back in the chest they came out of. But with most storage systems, once these items have been taken out, this will slowly fill up to being completely full. And once it's completely full, I can't return items to it. So with this self-leveling system, if I put these back, like so, this will drain out. Everything that filled in since I took these will drain back out until we get back to having whatever this is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5.5, about 5.25 stacks is the natural fill level for this shulker box, and that's true of all of these. They all have about 5 empty slots. The second key feature here is having the ability to order full shulkers easily. So if I want more than a couple stacks, we don't want to clean this whole thing out. You know, we don't want to clean the whole thing out, and then we have nothing to grab for later. If we want full shulkers, we can press Q. I'll press Q 3 times. 1, 2, 3. All 3 of those items are taken by a hopper below, and over here we're going to have 3 full shulkers delivered to us. And that works for every item, including the unstackables, which we are sorting all of. We have the boots going there, books going there, and then we're sorting bottles of water from the fire resist potion, and we're actually trashing the splash potion of fire resistance. So keeping only the drinkable form and trashing the splash version. That's optional. I have a filter up there that gets rid of the splash version. You could keep both, or you could keep just the splash variant and dispose of this variant. So you could have, I couldn't make it work space-wise in here, and I don't want the splash version anyway, but if you had room for an additional chest, then you could sort the splash potions out as well. So you'd have the non-splash, the water bottles, and a splash potion all separated from each other. We'll look at that when we go back up. But that shulker request works even for the non-stackables. So if I hit that guy there, we're going to get a full shulker of boots. Alright, so let's talk capacity. This thing holds 24 piglins, all held in a 1x1 chamber, and there is a ladder in there to prevent collisions, so we could technically go higher. We could go as many piglins as we want. But I've not gone more than 24 because any more than 24 and the system becomes overrun. So if you have more than that, then, well, just don't have more than that. And in order to get the ladder in there, you can see there's, I don't know, can you see that? There's a ladder, yeah, there's a ladder right there behind them. That turns off their collisions and helps with lag. But in order to get the items out, we have to use this slime block conveyor thing here. So that slime block slides in, pulls them out, pushes back. And then this hopper here, which is locked also to reduce lag, is only there for its hitbox. This particular shape allows the items that they throw to not clip through and fly off and glitch out. And now we'll look at the path that the items follow. They first hit this pressure plate and are aligned over the hoppers and then launched using that slime block. This slime block could be only 1 block tall, but it's decorated. Not decorated. But it's been outfitted with these items to prevent mob spawning. This post is here to prevent mob spawning in this location right here, so we need that. And then there's this post on top for the same reason, to prevent mob spawning on top of that slime. But the first trip is across the front here. So these items are thrown across all these hoppers that are wired up for 2x hopper speed sorting. If you're not familiar with 2x hopper speed item sorters, Ilmango has a great video on it. I'll link that in the description. But these are working at 2x hopper speed. You can see that happening right there. And they are configured so that when not in use, there's only one item in there. That allows up to 63 items to be sucked up by the hopper at a given time. And that just helps us keep up with the flow. And then after going across the first run, the items are realigned for this pass and launched across. And none of these are set up on a clock. They're activated as needed. So when this machine gets turned off, these stop running. So they fly across here and hit the second row. And then get aligned and fly across here, hitting the third row. And by the time they get here, we are down to just the unstackables and any overflow. There is a slight overflow of items that don't get picked up. So we're gonna have some gravel in here. Probably see some right here. Yeah, so there's some gravel and blackstone and iron nuggets headed up the dropper right now that did not get collected because there was because the filters were at capacity. So everything comes up here and first goes through a non-stackable sorter, and the non-stackables go down through all this non-stackable sorting business here. This is a slightly modified version of Ray's Works sorter. I had to make some changes to the potion sorter because it was easily overwhelmed. So we had to add a clock here to slow down the flow so that this potion sorter wouldn't become overwhelmed. But other than that, this is basically just Ray's design. I'll put a link to that in the description as well. And then the overflow, so these are the items, you know, the high quantity items that don't get filtered out during their first pass. Those go past the non-stackable item sorter, and first the arrows get sucked down. Arrows are needed to sort for boots, sort the books from the boots. So the fact that this machine can't keep up with the amount of arrows coming at it works to our benefit. The arrows that come up here first go down into that storage that feeds the non-stackable sorter, and then once that's full, the remaining arrows and any other excess are, you're actually going to see it right here, they're dispensed out back onto the ice, and as soon as this is done, there we go, they are launched back over here, realigned, dropped down, and shot back over for another pass. And the idea here is that not every single one of these stacks overwhelms it, so eventually everything does get sorted, and it can keep up with this. So we don't wind up with this excess just building and building and building until we have a ginormous excess rotating around. It does keep up with it. I've left this running for hours and with no issues. But what's happening here is as this dropper fills up, so right now it has 7 gravel in it, once it reaches a critical mass, it will activate and empty into this area right here until completely empty. That allows us to not have to leave a clock running all the time. I'm just going to force feed it here and we'll see what happens. So it's hit its critical mass and it's emptying. And I do have a video on this. I'll put a link in the description or at the top of the screen there showing how this thing works, but once that dropper is empty, it will launch all those items down the ice path here, and now this guy is empty. Well, it was empty, it's filling back up already. It basically works like a Pythagorean cup, and that takes care of our excess. Once it reaches the end of the ice row here, it hits the chorus plant, which aligns it with the slime block here, and then this piston pushes the items over, they fall down and land here perfectly aligned, ready to go on their second round. Alright, so now let's look at the actual shulker filler. So this thing is pretty well covered in my previous video, so I don't know that I'm going to linger on it too long, but the main goal here was to create a shulker box that has no visible redstone, so we don't see any droppers or hoppers or anything flowing into this guy. But we also wanted it to be filled at 2x hopper speed, which it is, and we want it to be, we want it also to drain, so we need a hopper on the bottom and a comparator out the back. So that, right off the bat, we can't get 2 hoppers into here without them being visible for 2x hopper speed, because the back of it will be taken up by a comparator and the bottom by whatever sucks it out, which in this case is a hopper minecart. So we use droppers. There's a dropper behind this picture frame, and the color blends in well enough with the basalt that it is, by my standards, invisible redstone, or not visible redstone. And if we go around the back here, we see how all these different loading mechanisms work. Basically, as the items flow down, they reach a comparator here that activates a clock, which silently pushes the items through. Check my other video for a lesson on silent droppers if you're not already familiar with how to do that, but these droppers do not make any noise when active, so we wind up with only the sounds of the pistons instead of the constant infernal clicking of a dropper. And then again, once the shulker box itself reaches the pre-programmed fill level, which in this case is 5 empty slots, it automatically begins draining down into this hopper cart. And once it drains down into this hopper cart, everything goes to a shulker box that is loaded at 2x hopper speed. So the entire system runs at 2x hopper speed. The filters up here are going at 2x hopper speed. The shulker box down here is filled with 2x hopper speed. At no point is there a bottleneck in that 2x hopper speed, all the way down to the shulker-loaders themselves. And once the shulker box is full, it goes down into our shulker box storage under here. All of this is our shulker box storage, and you can fit 2 barrels full of shulkers plus the connecting hoppers before the storage down here is full. And then underneath each shulker box is our item recall, shulker box recall. So if I break this out of the way, you'll see a hopper here. That hopper is what sucks up our ordered item. So when I press Q right here, that Q spits an item out onto that hopper. That hopper collects it and sends it past a comparator that reads how many items were thrown down. So if we throw down 1, we get 1 shulker. If we throw down 10, we get 10 shulkers. And those shulkers are dispensed from here. These are the chests that hold all of the full shulkers. So right now in the system we have 5 full shulkers of blackstone, so I could order as many as 5. So when a shulker is requested, it enters this dropper line here at any one of these points. So the blackstone here, the gravel here, the spectral arrows here. Each of these is its own unique entry point into the dropper chain. So if a spectral arrow box, if a full shulker of spectral arrows is ejected from that hopper into this dropper, these comparators all send a signal over here, activating the instant dropper lines below. Those instant droppers move the items over to the dropper elevator, which is also instant, up to instant lines up here, around this corner, and then ultimately dropped down in the center of the room. The lava is cosmetic. That adds to our atmosphere down here. We've got lava dripping through the ceiling and some vines to give it kind of an aged look. And then some vines down here also to add to the atmosphere. And finally, we also have a hidden crafting table here in the ceiling that pops out of the floor. Well, the button for it's in the ceiling. We just flick this down, right-click here, close that, and our crafting table is there and gone as needed. Oh, I completely forgot to mention overflow protection. So in the old design, if this overflowed, it was bad news. So I've crammed in some overflow protection here on every single module. We're looking at the modules here underneath the sorters. And right above the shulker loader, we have a lava block next to each of them that the overflow flows into in the event that we run out of empty shulkers. So you've got your empty shulkers that replace the full shulkers as they're broken, but once the last one is broken, which I'll simulate here, how best to do this? I think I will break the comparator and then break the shulker. There we go. So Now we have nowhere to go for the items that flow in, so they are routed to this dropper here. And let's see. Oh, it does need to back up a little bit, so this bottom hopper will back up. This will back up, and then once there, now you can see, okay. So now the items are flowing into the overflow. So these items in this dropper are being dispensed into the lava here. Unfortunately, it's not silent. I'd love it if it was, and I can't figure out a way to make it silent. So any suggestions are welcome on that as well. But it does at least have overflow, so if so the items won't back up into the chest or into the shulker up here and fill that up completely and then back all the way up to the sorter. It'll only back up into these two hoppers here and this one hopper here. And then as soon as you reload the system, which I'll do here just by placing this shulker back down, all those items will begin to flow into the shulker rather than into the overflow. So to turn this thing off, we have an off switch right here. I'd like to wire it in somewhere here, and if anybody has any recommendations for where to fit it, I'm open to suggestion. I have pretty much used up all the real estate in here, so I have no idea where I'm going to put an on-off switch that looks nice, but I would like to have one. Maybe out this door, I don't know. When I marry this up with my main world, I'm going to have my hidden slime block elevator right here, going down into the nether below. So I'm maybe I'll put it out here. I'm not sure. But to turn it off for now, we just have an off button right here. That turns off the clock, stops the gold from being dispensed, and then these guys, they do have, so one downside, I've got to wire in kind of a delay circuit here. So if you're building this in your world, you may want to throw that on, but you'll need a delay circuit to get rid of this final batch if you don't want these items to go to waste. So what we'll do is just basically short circuit it, and there we get our final batch of items. And that's it. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll put a world download in the description as with all my videos. Leave a like if you thought this was cool, and subscribe if you want to see more. Thanks.